She made me sleep with her friend. I found him repulsive. A story by Shirley Laffa, who you'll find on medium.com and on Amazon. I've always loved me a getaway, pretty much any getaway. Get me away from my stressful life, endless chores, overcrowded city. You get the gist. That's why years ago, when my friend Priscilla said I could go with her and her boyfriend Peter to a friend's country home for the weekend, I was delighted. I'm not sure if Priscilla and Pete intended to matchmake me with their friend Bert or not. They knew I had just broken up with my beau and needed some time to regroup. Maybe they just thought if something sparks between me and Bert, so be it. When they picked me up with Bert in tow, however, I was immediately repulsed. Bert was an over-the-top thespian. If you're not familiar with the hilarious SNL commercial, it's the 24-hour energy for dating actresses skit. I would have needed a double dose to deal with Bert. No, thank you. Even though I was stuck in the back seat with braggart Bert during crazy cottage traffic, I cleverly fell asleep to escape him. When we got to the cozy country home, it was a little harder to avoid Mr. Personality, he wished, however. Bert kept flitting around wildly, boasting about making ceviche, seeing as it's raw fish. Are you really making it? I wondered, seething. And with annoying exuberance, he practically sang a boastful culinary cacophony, calling himself Ceviche Man, while trying to emulate an operatic melody added insult to injury, not to mention made him even less attractive, if that were possible. I felt like puking even before letting the anticipated food poisoning run its course. Luckily, his concoction needed to cook in lime juice overnight. He poured all over it and spiced it. Big whoop. Meanwhile, I cooked in my own frustrated juices, so irritated at having to humor this narcissistic clown on what was to be a relaxing getaway. Thankfully, we all settled into movies after dinner, and he kind of shut up, save for the odd brilliant, in his mind, play-by-play commentary. In the end, the country home's host went to bed before the start of our double feature, and then halfway through the second film, Priscilla and Peter also fell asleep in mine and Bert's accommodations. The plan had been that the sofas on either end of the living room would serve as our separate beds for the night, but Priscilla and Peter were sprawled out on each of them, in deep slumber, which didn't deter me. Priscilla? I tried shaking her, and then practically yelled, selling her on the features, advantages, benefits, FAB, technique I learned in my marketing class. Won't you and Pete be way more comfortable on a real mattress in the quaint bedroom upstairs? Nothing. Peter! I thought I'd give him a try with a frantic finger poke. Won't you take Priscilla to your private room upstairs, please? Nothing. Perhaps the booze and weed added to their stupor. My sobriety, meanwhile, added to my panic. Bert looked over at me and surmised, well, I guess we will be using the spare room, which made me more desperately try to awaken them some more. But to no avail. A few moments later, Bert turned off the TV and the lights. I'm going to bed, he announced, marching upstairs towards the bedroom. What an asshole! I almost let my furious thought bubble burst out of my head. Seeing as the floor in the living room looked even less hospitable than the pea-stained, sagging mattress in the last cottage I rented, I reluctantly followed Mr. Self-Absorbed. I couldn't believe what was happening. The bedroom was tiny, so there wasn't any room for me to sleep on the shag carpet, I quickly and unfortunately deduced. Bert didn't do any deducing and quickly crawled into bed with his shorts and t-shirt. Reading the room, he muttered, "Don't worry, I won't lay a finger on you." I finally relented and crawled into the tiny bed with my sweatsuit ready to act as a shield. It was very quiet. Then Bert chuckled. "You know you don't have to desperately cling on the edge as if your life depended on it. I swear I won't touch you." I released my death grip on my side of the mattress slightly and fell asleep at last. True to his word, Bert didn't lay a finger on me, nor did his bruised ego allow him to speak with me the rest of the weekend, for that matter. So it was win-win, and I didn't even have to try Ceviche Man's gross-looking raw offering the next day. Mind you, I've had ceviche many times since, and I find it's really yummy, when it doesn't involve an arrogant chef nor interfere with my beauty sleep, that is. Thank you for listening to my story and to editor John Corton at Dr. Funny. Thanks for listening. I'm Kris Kepler, and I hope you enjoyed listening to these stories as much as I enjoyed narrating them. I'd love for more people to hear these wonderful stories, so please share and tell your friends.